Hello everyone, my name is Viper and welcome to a new video on my channel. In this new video I finally bring you the Unity class tier list. Get ready, this is a really long tier list with a lot of details, as you guys will see. You can see up here on top you have several categories that I made. You can see already some of the classes, but yeah, you have solo, group, farming, PvP, duo, PvP low level, and a little tip for the new players. But yeah, we'll start down here with the Osamodas. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to share it with your friends. A big detail that I need to share it already for you guys is that this is my own opinion, okay? My own opinion. You guys might have different opinions. You might place classes in other scenarios, other details, stuff like this. But in the end, it is my opinion. So we start off from below. We start off with the Osamodas, which is for me the lowest class. Even though it's got a lot of buffs, it's still pretty weak. I gave it a 7 in solo leveling. It's not the worst. The summons early on are very clutch, but as I said here, the more you progress in the game, the less impactful the summons will be. In terms of group impact, you have no group impact. That's why I gave it a 1. Legit, you can maybe buff your allies with power. That's basically it, or use the summons to tank the mobs. In terms of farming, I gave it a 6. You can still use a lot of summons to farm really fast. You summon them turn 1 and you have some AoE spells, so it can work. And when it comes down, I gave it an 8 in PvP and in PvP low level. In duo, it's still a bit weak. You don't give nothing to a duo. I gave it a 5. It's still a good class in general, so in a duo it will be still impactful, but it doesn't have synergy with a lot of classes, maybe with Sadida, but nothing else. But in PvP, as you can see, it shines at high level and especially at low level. Next up, we have Zobal or Masqueraider, depends what people want to know. But yeah, I placed a Masqueraider the number 18 class. I gave it a 5 in solo because you don't have a lot of tools early on. Your spells are very selective. You depend a lot on masks, and you don't have mobility, you don't have heals. You have fixed shields, but in PVM the fixed shields will not save you every time. And you don't have a lot of utility, as I said, for the PVM. And even for rushing, it's not a versatile class, I might say. You shield, yes, you have some utility on your spells, but that's about it. You still need to progress a bit to be impactful. In a group, though, you are very good. You have the masks that can buff your teammates with percentage damage. You have the shields that are super impactful in AoE. You can have other things like AoE damage and stuff for groups, but you only have the spell, which is Angular. Other than that, it's not the best. That's why I give it a 5 in farming, because in farming you can not really do much except Angular. Maybe Furia, you are very mono target, so it impacts it a lot. In PvP level 200, you are good. In 3v3, in 1v1 you are a bit weaker, but in 3v3 you are good. Especially with the shields nerfs, you can tank a lot, stuff like that. And in PvP low level, you don't have a lot of tools, so you're a bit weak. And I gave it a 6 in duo. I can maybe give it a 7, but I think 6 is enough because other than shields, you don't provide much more to your duo. Like, you provide a bit more than the Osamodas, I would say. Next up, we have Xelor. Xelor, it's the surprise here. I feel like it's even a bit low, but you guys will see. I think the only problem with the class is that it's very hard to play, and that's why it's maybe a bit low down here. But the class is strong, so yeah, I give it an 8 in solo. It really depends, you need to be really good, but the buffs that it got, lifesteal on all spells, you can really clutch it out. The problem with the class is definitely the early game, but once you're past it, you're gonna be chilling a lot if you're good at the class, I repeat again. In group, you don't really, how do I say it, have a lot of impact, except for giving AP. You have some AoE damages, but other than that, the class doesn't have as much impact as the other ones. Once again, in farming, I gave it the 6th because, yes, it got buffed with drying up and temporal dust, but it still is really dependent on the placement of the mobs, right? The mobs need to be kinda together, and it costs you a little bit to put them all together. Yeah, that's basically the only reason I gave it the 6, because otherwise, if you have a good zone and the mobs are all together, you can temporal dust and drying up, and it's super strong. I would even put Xelor a bit higher. It's down here, but I would say if I just increase the other two, the Xelor class would be much higher. In PvP, I think in PvP, I'm sorry. I think the class will shine. I gave it an 8 because I think it will get super good in PvP with the AP reduction and stuff. 1v1 and 3v3 with the lifesteal, it's huge. And for duo, I gave it an 8. You guys might ask, why do you give it an 8 for duo and 6 for solo? Basically, in duo, I think you will have a lot of possibilities with another character. For example, to place with a rogue, with an Elio, or with other classes. And with the duo, it's also much easier to play the Xelor because you don't have as much players playing before you, so you can do your turns faster. It's a class that needs to play as fast as possible, because if you are playing in a group and your turn takes a while you're waiting the other characters, you will not have as much impact in map manipulation, if you know what I mean. So having impact in map manipulation and buffing an ally, and the ally can stack up the things for the Xelor and the Xelor hits right after, I think it's super nice. And that's why I made it in duo, but it can also be lower. It's just my opinion in the end. And in PvP low level, you don't have a lot of spells, so you'll not be very impactful. Then we go to Rogue. Rogue, you guys might actually be surprised. Yes, I gave it a 6 in solo because the class got buffed, but it's not that. I mean, the class is good, but it's still very complicated. You need to be really good at the class. You need a lot of APs, and you also need to play it very cleanly, and you lack a lot of sustain with the Rogue. Yes, you have the int spells that can lifesteal, but other than that, the mobs can go to you and delete you if you don't play around with your bombs. You have a lot of damage yet, yes, but that's about it. Though, even though I said this, the big advantage of the Rogue is the damage. That's why I gave it a 9 in group, because in group, if you have something that places for you, especially in a 4-man group, so you have more than one placer, or you have a lot of stacking on the bomb damage, you can make it shine as being the class that will one-shot everything for you. But that's why I think I gave it a 9 in group. Maybe I overrated it, but in group, if you play Rogue with 3 other characters, like let's say you play Panda, Rogue, Elio, and I don't know, something else, just the Panda and the Elio can make your Rogue shine. And you have like an Annie to buff the Rogue will one-shot everything. In terms of farming, I only gave it a 4. You guys might ask, why only 4? It's not as easy as it seems to farm on Rogue. You have a bit of AoE spells, but they are super short range. You have the bombs, but if the mob kills the bombs, you cannot do much. The best thing you can do is maybe sticky bomb and fuse in zone. You cannot really get zones unless with pulsar. It's very, very complicated, and it's super, super close range. So it's a bit awkward to farm with Rogue. In terms of PvP, always a good class. The bombs will always be good. You have erosion, which is super, super important in PvP. And in duo, I gave it an 8 as well, because I think the class is mega strong in terms of damage, and if you have healing on your team, you can just stack up the bombs and one-shot the mob. So if you have a Panda that can save you, you have the bombs to one-shot, an Eniripsa that can help you as well, a Xelor, an Eliotrope, an Ecaflip, legit everything that can support the Rogue and do some placement, the class becomes insane. So I gave it an 8 in group, and at low level I gave it a 7 because you still need some spells to be impactful in PvP low level. Up next we have Eniripsa. Eniripsa, I gave it a 5 in solo. The class is super, super simple to play. You can simply just heal yourself and hit a bit from range. Maybe I gave it a low note in solo. I think the class still lacks a lot of mobility, so you can get bullied by mobs. Once the mobs get close to you, you get locked. It's a bit hard to do achievements and stuff like that. That's why I gave it a 5. But in group, I gave it a 10 without a doubt. You can heal, you can AP, you can shield your teammates in AoE, you can get zones for them. Turbulent Word is a pain in the ass, but the other words are super, super good. You can do AoE damage with even Strength and Eniripsa. It works in group super, super nice. Once again, for farming, it's complicated. As I said, the class doesn't have mobility. You can get some zones, but it's not huge range. It's a bit complicated to farm with Eniripsa. But maybe you guys have other knowledge than I do. But I think compared to other classes, Eniripsa goes down a little bit. On the other side, on PvP, as I said, it's a bit similar to group. The class is super good in PvP. You have a lot of heals, you have a lot of AP buffs and stuff like that. It's very nice. In duo, as per usual, I think the reason is simple here for duo. You can AP your teammate, you can heal your teammate. Not a lot of classes can do that early game, and Eniripsa can. And you have the Coney as well, so the Coney is like a third character. Super impactful. And I gave it a 9 at low level PvP simply for the reason that you heal and people don't have a lot of heals early on. So you can just poke them at range. Also the AP reduction is impactful since there's no AP parry early on. Now, the class that got buffed a lot and a lot of people are talking about it, it's Ouginak. Ouginak, I gave it an 8. I think the class is insane. You have a lot of mobility, more mobility than you think. You have some defensive spells, you have lifesteal, and you have a lot of damage, plus being a tanky character. The problem with Ouginak is that you're not very versatile, okay? You still depend on a lot of things, but I gave it an 8. I think it's really good, and I think it's a class that you guys should test out in beta. In group, I gave it a low note, a 7, because I don't think it's going to be very impactful in group. You cannot really buff your team, but it's a class that hits very hard, and the prey and the venison are something that all your team can profit for, and even you know, in dreams or just double Ouginak to take care of the prey is something that can be abused, and I think super important. In farming though, I gave it a 4 because the class does not have a lot of AoE spells, doesn't have a lot of you can play chance for long range, but other than that you're very melee, and that's basically it. That's why I gave it a 4. Okay, that's, you cannot really get zones. You can maybe kill mobs super fast. I don't even know if you really can kill them all super fast, because you still need to stack it and stuff, and maybe they can overrun you, but that's about it. In PvP, strong class, can erode, super tanky, long range, lifesteal, very nice. In duo, I gave it an 8 as solo. I think it has a bit of everything, and so if you play with a duo, you can shield a bit to the duo, you can give MP to the duo, and you can self-sustain as well yourself alongside your duo. And if the duo sets up the Ouginak can do a lot of damage. And low level, since you have Marrowbone in PvP, I feel like it's gonna be insane. Plus you have the tankiness and the lifesteal. That's already a bonus. Next up, we go for the Ecaflip. The Ecaflip is a class that got changed this beta. You lost all the illusion spells, but you still have the card game. I think the class is super good. Super good. You just need to learn the card mechanic. But Ecaflip is a class now with Tarot that has a lot of possibilities that you can get from Tarot. It's a class that has really good variety of gameplay, and I feel like that's what makes it fun to play and also effective, because you have the spells that can reduce critical rate from mobs, the spells that can heal you, save your teammates as well. You have kitties that can hit, so summons is already super good early on as well. You have movement, a lot of movement in the game as well, a lot of range as well, and you have 2 AP spells that are low cost, and that's mega important. In group, I think it's not that bad as well. I don't think it's as good as solo, because in group you don't really give a lot to your team. You cannot really buff them unless you have a good roulette, but you can also have a bad roulette. You cannot really do much else than maybe reduce the crit res of the mobs. You hit hard, yes, but it's a bit like Ouginak. That's all you do. You have a bit of sustain, you hit hard, but that's about it. In terms of farming though, Ecaflip is a bit better, because I think you have more range on your spells. You can get zones with, let's say, crabs, you can get zones with rough tongues, stuff like this, and it's not that bad. Ouginak not as much, it's more mono target. In PvP, I think the class will still be good with Tarot. The fact that sometimes you'll have 1 AP spells, you can still erode with the distribution in AoE. Super nice. In Duo, I gave it a 7, a bit below Ouginak. But I think I might made a mistake here. I think in Duo, I'll even give it an 8 here in for Ecaflip because like the Ecaflip can heal, the Ecaflip can kind of save his teammates. I'll even give it a 7 on Sram. I'm changing it right now. They're basically the same, but yeah, I'll even give it an 8 to Ecaflip. You can shield your teammates with Rough Tongue. Taro can be really nice. You can place them. You can shield them. Smell is super nice in duo. So you play first, you smell, and then your duo has a lot of AP next turn. The healing kitty to heal, I think it's pretty nice. And in 1v1, 1v1 or 3v3 low level, it's not a bad class at all. Next up, we have Sram, that is, I think, underrated. It's always been one of the good classes in PVM. They killed it a bit, the part of the assassination, yes, I know. But if you're someone that likes to play around traps or invisibility and poisons, I feel like it's super nice. The double as well to lock the mobs. It's a class that can be really good. I feel like people don't understand, but invisibility, yes, you lost invisibility, but now if you kill targets, you get it back. And Mist is also super good in team. So I gave it an 8 in solo, because you can still do a lot of achievements and it's not very hard to play. And in group I gave it a 9 simply because of Mist, and you can also do some movement with the traps to keep the mobs away from your team, which is super nice. Or you can play close range as well with strength and you have lifesteal. For PvP, the class has a bit of downgrade, lost a lot of damage, doesn't have a lot of impact. I forgot for farming, I'm sorry. So farming, for farming, you can farm, it's a bit complicated. You do need to get... I think it's not that bad of farming. I think it's better than Ecaflip, that's why I gave it a 6. But you still need to get zones and stuff like that. So it's not that bad. You can have poison and stuff, the mobs cannot resist you, and your double can be very effective. In PvP, as I was saying, not that good. In duo, I think it's good because, as I said, Mist can be really clutch. You can use the traps for your teammates to stay away, and you can lifesteal a little bit. Also, raiding, for example, a spell in chance can give heals to your allies. I think it's not bad at all. And for low level, I think the invisibility and the fact that you have a lot of lifesteal and erosion can be really impactful. Also, the traps are insane. Panda in solo, I gave it a 7. This is a class that you still depend a lot of AP to do a lot of stuff early on. But the class damage is not bad. The problem is that you still need to wait a bit to get ranged spells. The ranged spells, once you get them, the class will be stronger. And the class is not bad at all. I will even give it more than Sram. The only difference is that, for example, let's say an example that's Sram soloing dungeons versus Panda soloing dungeons. I would put my money on the Sram soloing a dungeon with achievements or stuff like that, then the Panda soloing a dungeon in terms of content. Also, quest fights, the Sram might have an easy time than the Panda. Same as Ecaflip. Ouginak, not really, but Ouginak to progress, it's really fast because you have a lot of damage, and the lifesteal is not bad at all. It's only the condition that I put Ouginak at 8 because it's really good. But the strongest point of the Panda, and everyone knows it's that's the most important class to have in your group. So that's why I gave it a 10. The placement, the tankiness, the the gravity, it's just insane. Stabilization, the class is top 10 in group, everyone knows, because of Karsham. Just insane. And not only that, you have a lot of movement. You can place whatever. The map manipulation is just insane. Farming, it's a bit better than Sram. Why? Because this class, as I said, you pick up a target, you pick up 2 targets, you put the next to them, flint, pint, and you're chilling. Also, if you don't want to go CC, you can just go on top of the Vasta and hit from across the map, no line of sight. You can also use AoE with Agi Panda with numbness. It's pretty nice. In PvP, it's a bit on the low for 3v3. It's strong in 1v1, but in general it got nerfed, I think, in this update, because a lot of classes got buffed. The Panda didn't get a lot of love in general, especially with the mode that was used, mostly, which was strength. Strength got low, so the rest got low. I could be wrong. The meta, we haven't seen it yet. But I think in duo, it's a 10 as well. Like, as I said, in duo you have Panda. I think Panda works with every single class that I just said. Panda Ouginak, super good. Panda Ecaflip, super good. Panda Sram, super good. Like, you can pick up your Sram and wait for Mist, and then you missed again, and then it's fine. Like, Panda Rogue, Panda, whatever. Panda is just the team player of the team player. Low level, it's a bit bad in PvP. That's basically it. Up next, we have Hupper solo 10. I think there's no much discussion about this. Hupper is a class that can do it all. The better you play it, the more it can do. You have movement, you have range reduction, you have a lot of damage, you have range damage, you have melee damage, you have lifesteal, you have AoE, you can shield, you can heal your allies. Super, super, super good. And you can do it to yourself as well. You can take AoE, it's super, super nice. In group, though, I gave it a 7, I could be wrong, but I don't think it apports a lot in group. You have contribution, but that's only single target that you can maybe buff AP to your teammates. I think it can be really good in group in a hitter type of style with Arcane Torrent and stuff. You have a lot of AoE. I could be wrong, as I said. This is my opinion. Like, if I could, I would give it an 8. Like, it's just 19 classes, it's a bit hard to rank them perfectly. That's basically it. It's not a tier list where I just put classes on a tier. I really tried to give it in terms of numbers, so it's as most detailed as possible, so you guys can really look at it and be like, okay, this class is good at this class is good at this, and this class is good at this. And it's more better for you. But it can beat 7 or 8. In terms of farming, it's a 9. You have Runification, Manifestation, super nice technique. You have AoEs, Arcane Torrents, as I said. You can lifesteal, you can play CC, distance, whatever. You can get zones, super, super nice. In PvP, it got, I think, not as good as before. And in low level, I gave it a 7. In duo, I think it's super good class in duo. As I said, contribution, the fact that you can heal, you can place for your teammates. It's really, really nice. The spells that you have that are mono target for support are super nice. I give it an 8 without a doubt. Up next, we have my main, which is Eliotrope, and I'm not going to be biased. The class, even though it got nerfed in solo, early on, it's going to struggle, but after you get AP, I think even early on, if you want to cheese something, if you want to do achievements, if you want to do anything, it's Eliotrope. Like, you can go across the map, even though if you like damage, you just need to play it really clean. It's hard to play, it's the difference, it's really hard to play, but it's a 10 without a doubt. The class, you can lifesteal, you can go across the map with 2 portals just by setting up, you can abuse the mob AIs if you count MP, you can do the achievements really easy. It's really, really good, and the damage is still pretty nice. I do think the nerf was insane by Ankama, but the damage is still pretty nice. In group, it's a 10 as well. Your teammates can utilize your portals. It's basically a broken ass mechanic, right? Even though it got nerfed, your team can still utilize your portals. You can use the portals to move your team around. You can heal as well. You can buff AP. You can buff MP. You can buff power. The class is insane. The class is insane. They buff everything. In terms of farming, Delio, it's not a class that gets a lot of farming because, for example, you want to use your portals, it costs you to use your portals, you need to set them up, you need to go close, you need to get AoE, you are in the middle of nowhere, the mobs hit you, blah blah blah. It's a pain in the ass to farm with Delio, that's why I gave it a 7. A 5. In PvP I gave it a 7. It got, as I said, damage reduction, some spells got changed, you have more spells per element, but that's not going to improve a lot. In duo, I gave it a 10. The simple reason is I gave a 10 to Panda. You have placement, you have a lot of heals as well with Whack Foray. You can play support, you have debuff, you have a lot of things that can help the Eliotrope. And I gave it a 6 as low level PvP because not a lot of AP, not a lot of impact. Up next, you have the little Enutrof, and you guys might be surprised to see Enutrof appear. Huh? How is Enutrof appear? Are you guys surprised or not? Because I'm not. Like, the class is super good solo. You have a lot of utility. It's insane. Really, really insane. You can heal yourself, you can push, you can MP red, you can like easily farm. It's insane. For achievements, you can also do a lot of achievements. It's really not bad at all, the class. You have so much, like, it's the utility class of Dofus, as I said. The utility class of Dofus can be played solo and chains in team. And it's super easy to play. But yeah, in group, it's a 10. You have pull out, corruption, the MP reduction is insane. You have AoEs, you can buff your team with miserlessness, just insane. In PVM farming, I gave it a 6. Why? Because I still think the class is not easy as it seems to farm in PVM. Yes, you can have some good AoEs with sieving and stuff like. I think Chance is the best one, but it's still a bit hard to farm because getting zones is complicated still for the class. It's not easy to get zones. And you might say, oh, but it's not easy to get zones for Hupper. The thing is, Hupper, you can just target all the entities and Runification, for example, and that's much easier to farm, right? And the Enu, you cannot do it every turn. You need to wait and hit a class one by one or try to take zones. But yeah, you have, for example, pull out, which is super nice if you want to farm. Up next, we have for PvP, it's not bad at all. You might say, why it's better than Hupper and Panda? Yeah, it's better than Hupper and Panda. You just have too much utility. AP reduction, MP reduction, corruption, pull out insane spells. What can I say about this class? And I gave it 9 for a duo. I didn't give it a 10 as in a group because I think it lacks what Elio and Panda has, which is placement. You don't have a lot of placement, and in duo it can be really, really, really clutch. Like even Hupper has more placement than Enutrof, I would say. The why, and you might say that why is Hupper then why is Enutrof above Hupper then? Because of the reasons I said. Pull out corruption. It's really, really impactful. Really, really impactful. And low level PvP, I gave it a 7. It's not bad at all. Up next we have IOP, the no-brainer, legit full muscle classes. I gave it a 10 in solo PVM. Not the best for achievements early on, but for farming, for XPing, for the way that you play it, it's super, super easy. A lot of damage, easy. Like the fact that it's easy to play, it's super, super, super important. And why is it better than Enutrof? As I said, you can easily get zones with all your spells. You can buff your, like, you progress super, super fast. That's the important part. And you have a lot of things to do achievements as well. The only thing that the class lacks is lifesteal, but you can progress mega, mega fast. 100% a 10 in solo. I gave it an 8 in the group. The advantage that IOP has in the group, as I said, a lot of AoE damage, but also a lot of mono-target damage with IOP strat. It's mainly why people pick IOP, precipitation and full damage, and you one-shot a boss. Really, really good. In terms of farming, I gave it a 9. The class is nice. The class is nice to farm because you have Celestial Sword, you have Tumult, Gathering, like you have so many things to get AoE and AoE. The Divine Sword, like, it's super nice. The only problem with this is that it's a bit melee. The class is a bit melee, but you have so much damage. Like, power is insane. You have so much damage that you will delete the mobs, so it's really good for farming. For PvP, still nice. You can erode, you tank a lot on PvP. That's the main reason why IOP is strong. IOP strat always there to be annoying. In duo, I gave it an 8. A bit the same reason with the rogue and stuff like that. Like IOP with any duo that can set him up will just shine. Or he can even set up the other people, like powering. If he plays with the Kra, he can power the Kra and set up zones for the Kra. Stuff like this. Not bad at all. And I gave it a 6 as low level because at low level, if the other classes have more movement than you, you are a ripper. Now, this class, I don't know, everyone. I might have ranked Forgelance bad or not, because this class seems just too strong in my brain. It just seems too strong. I gave it a 9 in solo. You have AoE, you have utility, you have a lot of damage, you have no line of sight spells, you can play CC, you can play ranged, you can do it all, you can debuff, you can erosion. This class is nuts, really, really nuts. It's the king of AoE. The king of AoE, it's all I can say. And in group, it shines for the exact same reason. It shines because you also have a lot of AoE, and you can just set up the Forgelance to one-shot every single one on every side of the map. You also have a shield zone spell, so he has some zone stuff. You can also buff your team in zone. You can also shield all your allies with Eclipse. It's not that bad as a class. I gave it a 10 in farming. Fireforge, I think you guys need to test Fireforge. Fireforge is just incredible, broken, insane. You have Muspel at low level now. It's a must. It's definitely a must. It's without a doubt a 10 in farming. In PvP, still nice, the fact that you can erode, you can hit with no line of sight, you are very tanky, you can play CC, you can play distance. Not bad at all. And same as solo and duo, I gave it a 9 in duo. Because in duo, you can shield your teammate, you can heal your teammate, you can make zones for your teammate, you can kinda place the mobs for your teammate, you can place your teammate, you can place yourself with mobility. It's really, really, really nice. In low level, you do need a bit of AP to play with the class and a bit of range to be a bit annoying. You can also play CC, but yeah, I gave it a 7. I cannot even read anymore. Next up, we have Sadida. Sadida buff Forge, a lower in solo. You might ask why? Why does Sadida low solo? Because Sadida Viper Sadida can heal, can shield, can move a bit. No, actually, it's the worst part of Sadida. Cannot move. Can move maybe the teammates. But he can do a lot of AoE damage. Basically, boys, Sadida is at 8 because Sadida is not as easy to do achievements with, for example. That's basically the only reason. Other than that, I think Sadida is very, very strong. I think it will still be, even if it got reduced on MP reduction, the impact that it has, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Up next we have a group. Group, I gave it a 7 because like you cannot insanely support your team except with the inflatable. But I think I'll even give it, I don't know, Forgelance damage is so mega broken that I give it a 9. But I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna give an 8 to Sadi. It's gonna pass the Kra. I'm even gonna upgrade it now because the MP reduction is just nuts. Like we skip the Kra like this, but yeah, the MP reduction is just nuts. Even though it got nerfed, it's still insane. I give it a 10 on farming. You guys are not surprised. I'll just give it a 10 on farming because it's super, super, super nice. You can get AoE, you can infect everyone, MP reduction, you are bin shielding, you just don't have a lot of mobility, but you can heal yourself, and it's super easy to play. In PvP, mega broken. I don't think I have anything to say about it. In duo, you don't really give a lot to your duo, and you are really dependent on a good target to duo, a good character to duo with. Like, not everything is very synergetic with Sadida, I would say. So yeah, I'll give it a 7. It's not the best duo class. I feel like the class is better solo, especially since you multi-hit. And a 10 in 1v1 as well. It's just PvP low level. It's insane. We skip the Kra, but no one can skip the Kra. The PVM class. Legit, it's the PVM class, Kra. If you realize, I have solo, I have farming, I have group, I have farming. It's all 10s for a reason. It's all 10s for a reason. So yeah, I don't think I need to explain a lot. Kra, insane in solo. AoE, you have a lot of range, you have a lot of damage early on. The class is super easy to play. In group, it's the same thing. You just have too much damage, this class. That's why it's a 10. That's why it's a 10 above 4. Like, it's the amount of damage you can do with the Kra and the way it's easy to do it. It's what makes it better than the Forge and the Sadida. With the Forge, you still need to have AoE and set up a bit, but the Kra can do AoE, it can do mono target, it can push, you can easily kite. It's insane. The same with farming. It's on par with Sadida and Forge. It's super, super nice to farm, but it loses on the PvP. It's not the best PvP class. In duo, I could even up it a bit, but it's not a class that gives a lot in duo. You only hit. You don't have a lot of support for the duo class. You don't have a lot of movement for your teammates. You have nothing to give to your teammates, but it has a lot of damage. So you can still play a duo. This is not the reason that you're not gonna play duo, because if you want something to do a lot of damage, you should take this class for sure. The same as Sadida. And a 9 in 1v1, because I think in 1v1 class is still super nice with all the damage that it has. We get now to the top 3, where we have Feca. Feca is the class that it's super, super nice. Like, if you just play around your cooldowns, you are basically unkillable. You have a lot of AoE, a lot of range, but yeah, it's basically because of the cooldowns, because most of the mobs cannot debuff you. So if you just play around your cooldowns, you are bin shielding. You have mobility as well. It's insane. You just lack heals, but once you quest Dokoko, for example, you'll be a bit more safer. So yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot even. So yeah, I'll give it a 10 in solo. You can easily farm with AoE, you can easily progress, easy to play, and the cooldowns are just insane. In group, it's all about the cooldowns once again. Barricade, Bastion, Aegis, the glyphs that you can have for the AoE, the Pasture Land glyph that gives 10% final damage to everyone in the team that sits in the glyph. It's insane. Super, super good. You don't have bad damage at all. For farming, once again, the glyphs are just insane. Insane AoE, you can proc the glyphs, you can chill in the back, you can kite the mobs with Chance Feca. Super, super nice. For PvP, super solid class as well. Once again, the cooldowns are just insane. Damage reduction is just insane. AP and MP reduction, it's just insane. I forgot to talk about that. You have MP reduction a lot on Feca as well. Range reduction, super important as well. Even PvP or in mobs. In Duo, I gave it an 8. I could even give it more. I feel like just some classes hit much more than Feca. They can also heal, and that makes a bit of difference. That's why, for example, Forge is higher than Feca, because Forge can heal, stuff like this. Can also shield. The Feca has damage reduction, but that's about it. And low level PvP, I don't think it's bad at all, with the glyphs occupying most of the map and the people having no MP, for example. It's just an example I'm giving. And now we have Steamer that, yes, Steamer is up here, everyone, because this class, it was almost 10s everywhere. Almost 10s everywhere, for sure. So yeah, Steamer, we have a class that can legit do everything solo. I would say you have a lot of movement, you can shield yourself, you can have AoE damage, amp reduction, you have a lot of mechanics around the turrets and stuff. I think it's not bad at all, for real. On group, I think it lacks a bit on impact. Yes, you can shield, you can have the Bethy, but it's not the insane amounts of Bethy. You can also have a lot of group, a lot of AoE damage, but I think in Steamer for PVM, I think the best element would be multi-crit, and you'll have a lot of zones. I could be wrong. Like, the Steamer could be a 9 in group, and it will be the #1 class, but I'll give it an 8 for group, just because the class is still a bit mono-target if you play multi-crit, and the Bethy, yes, you can AP 2 targets, but that's about it, and you have a summon on the field that will not be impactful because you lose another summon to do damage, like the Harpooner or the Drill. For farming, you have a lot of AoE, super easy to farm. The class, you are fine. You can get zones with strength, you can get zones with int, with, for example, turbine, stuff like that, and the turrets can just be bait for the mobs to hit while you hit them. It's super nice. For PvP, super insane. The class, you have a lot of sustain, you can tank, you can erode, you have a lot of range. Super, super nice. For Duo, super nice as well. As I said early on, the Bethy, super impactful. You have the Harpooners that can help your Duo, just like the Harpooners soak damage while your Duo does damage as well. Like, the class can go from an attack class to a defensive class, and that's why it's insane in Duo. Also, the class can do it all. It can debuff, it can erode, it can provide everything that you need for the Duo to succeed. That's why I think it's super nice. You can also have the movement, like a recursiveness and stuff like that, to help your little Duo. And PvP low level, the turrets are just broken, and it's gonna be like playing 2v3. That's basically it, like the Sadi, like the Sadi. We finish off with Sacrier, and you guys might be surprised, Viper, you put Sacrier first. Yes, I put Sacrier first. Why? Because this class is just, I feel like it's in one of the best states in the game. Especially with all the shield changes, like the class will just tank more damage now. And the shields got nerfed, right? But the Sacrier passive didn't get nerfed, so the final damage is still there on this little bad boy. It's still there. With shields was already good, and without shields it's gonna be still good. For solo, you only lack... I only gave it 9 because of achievements. It's still a bit annoying to get the achievements done with Sacrier, because you are still a bit CC and stuff like that, but the amount of damage you have and the mobility is nuts, so you can work around it. For group, you don't give anything else but damage, but that's the point of this class. If you have a really good group with Panda that sets up, with an Elio that sets up, something that sets up, it's the same as a rogue. This class is just nuts. You go berserk, you get buffed by an N, you one-shot everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. In AoE, the class is just insane. For farming, it's the exact same reason. Clobbering, you can use int, chance, the amount of zones you can get like, you can get zones. That's why the class is nice for farming. You can get zones. You can use aversion to get zones, condensation to get zones. You have zone spells that hit. Yes, it's a bit CC, but you have lifesteal spells at the same time. Your passive makes you tankier. It's just nuts. And for PvP, everyone knows. Whatever element you play on Sacrier, it's strong. That's why. Even in 1v1, the class is just nuts. The passive is nuts. For duo, I gave it the 9 because I think the class is super nice if you set up well. You can heal your teammates. For the people who don't know, you're going to say, oh, you cannot heal your teammates. You can heal your teammates. The only thing you cannot do is shield. No, you can even shield your teammates with Pillory, for example. It has some defensive cooldowns for the duo. But yeah, it has insane setting up positions. You can trust position to move around your duo, penitence to move around your duo. You can do a lot of things to move around your duo and set up them for success and even you. Like, I have only simple, strong, and easy, and it has damage. It has damage. That's basically what I said to Sacrier, and it's true. It is true. And PvP low level, the passive is just too strong. You can also get a lot of zones versus the classes that summon. That's why it's not bad at all. But yeah, let me know, everyone. I'm gonna classify it 1 to last. So we have Osamodas, Zobal, or Masqueraider, Xelor, Rogue, Eniripsa, Ouginak, Ecaflip, Sram, Panda, Hupper, Eliotrope, Enutrof, Iop, Forgelance, Sadida, Feca, Steamer, and Sacrier. Let me know in the comments your opinion. This is my opinion, okay? And I hope I can help some people decide their classes. For new players, you have this on the right side to maybe help you a bit understand the classes a little bit better. As I promised, the tier list is here. I'm gonna work on more videos now. The Excel will be in the description, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great day. Bye bye.